I just want, like, the healed version of myself to come and tell me.
Not only did Jen Hamilton lose her marriage, the version of her life that she believed to be true was lost. Fans saw the author, the mother, the humorous nurse, and the lady who could make pandemonium seem manageable for years. However, Jen claims that Brian was leading a double life behind the videos. She was not only devastated when the truth came to light, every memory was rewritten by it. The breakup that first sounded peaceful. Jen Hamilton made an effort to manage her separation from Brian Hamilton with poise. It sounded painful but cautious. After a lengthy shared history of love, friendship, and complex emotions, Jen and Brian announced their separation after years of dating, 2 kids, and a life that many fans had witnessed in fragments online. It sounded like one of those mature, tragic endings at first. Respectful but not tidy or simple. A marriage in which both partners required time apart. Jen didn't act aggressively. She refrained from revealing the most repulsive information right away. She didn't ask anyone to be attacked online. She actually appeared to be defending everyone. She was keeping Brian safe. Ellis and Luke, their sons, were under her protection. She was defending the recollection of a marriage that held personal significance for her. Perhaps she was also defending herself in some way. Because you don't want the conclusion to make the entire story seem phony after you've loved someone for years. However, Jen returned with a completely different message. No polished declaration, no tactful language, no gentle justification. This time, she said that the videos on the internet were growing out of control, that her children and those close to her were aware of it, and that she was at last going to tell the truth. Then she uttered the words that made all the difference. Double life. At that point, the narrative ceased to sound like a typical divorce. Because living 2 lives is more than an error. It implies that there was a Brian that Jen claims she never really got to know. It indicates that while she was still attempting to make sense of the marriage in good faith, things were going on behind her back. And that's what really got to folks. Jen was grieving more than just a breakup. She was mourning the man she believed to be Brian. The public Jen and the private pain. Jen Hamilton gained popularity on the internet because she never came off as phony. She developed a platform centered on honesty, parenting, birth, bodies, marriage, emotions, and the kind of chaos most people try to hide when working as a labor and delivery nurse. She had the ability to be warm, forthright, humorous, untidy, and consoling all at once. People trusted her because of this. Perfection was not what she was offering. She was humorously depicting real reality. She was able to discuss difficult topics without depressing them. She had the ability to jest and convey something very human at different times. Millions of people felt as though they knew her because of that equilibrium. However, social media may also be a trap. Viewers begin to assume they see everything when someone shares too much. Jokes, family illusions, marital moments, children, work stories, and vulnerable captions are all visible to them. And they construct a complete picture from those parts. However, an online full picture is still just a picture. Jen's personality was seen to others. They observed her at work. They noticed her sense of humor. They witnessed the public version of her marriage. However, they did not witness every private discussion, every lonely night, every unsolved problem, or every instance in which she might have sensed something was off but was unable to provide proof just yet. This is the story's deeper twist. Brian's apparent double life wasn't the only thing. The reason is that Jen was unknowingly living in 2 different realities. There was public Jen, funny, accomplished, resilient, outgoing, and adored by complete strangers. Then there was private Jen, who was confused, wounded, stressed, and attempting to keep her marriage intact while being unaware of knowledge that could have made all the difference. Her confession felt more significant than rumors because of this. It revealed how someone can be visible to millions of people while remaining invisible at the most important location. Jen could assist women during childbirth. She was able to ease the suffering of strangers. She could raise kids, publish a book, put in long hospital shifts, and make people laugh on the internet. However, she said that she was still unaware of the true nature of her own marriage. People stopped scrolling because of this paradox. Because anyone can miss the truth for so long, even someone with Jen's level of emotional intelligence and openness. The parallel life claim. Jen claimed that Brian had a parallel life with another lady when she eventually spoke clearly. The woman was 56 years old, she said. She added that she had been working alone for a while in order to relieve Brian's tension. The story was made even more agonizing by that particular element. Because Jen wasn't sitting around the house doing nothing while suspicions grew. She was at work. She was in the medical facility. She was tending to patients. During some of the most trying times in their lives, she was providing others with vitality. Jen claims that Brian made time for someone else while she was working on that. Her anguish sounded so intense because of this. The alleged affair wasn't the only issue. It had to do with the unbalance. She felt that her goodwill had been exploited against her, even though she had been attempting to shield him from pressure. Betrayal is painful on many levels. The secret itself is the first layer. The other individual, the deceit, the messages that are hidden, the time that was lost, the knowledge that you were not permitted to see an entire aspect of someone you trusted. However, the second layer may cause considerably greater pain. It is the realization that the betrayal may have been simpler to conceal because of your own sacrifices. The late shifts, the confidence, the benefit of the doubt. You invented these justifications because you liked them. Jen said she ought to have left sooner because of this. However, such line is difficult to understand. People frequently question, why didn't she leave sooner? From the outside. However, individuals in long-term marriages do not make decisions based on all available information. Hope, children, history, guilt, love, fear, and memories all play a role in their decision-making. Brian and Jen dated for many years. They were a family. There were sweet moments between them. They had both a private and a public past. Even in cases where the truth is devastating, it takes time to remove it. Jen compared it to a death because of this. Not because Brian was physically gone, but more because she no longer believed in the version of him. The future she had envisioned had vanished. Suddenly, the memories she trusted seemed strange. Moments that had once given her peace now raised questions. Was that true? Was that what he meant? When did things start to change? How much was unknown to me? That is the cruel aspect of betrayal. It harms more than just the present. It regresses and taints the past. Jen had to do more than simply end a marriage. Years of her life have to be reprocessed. The detail that made it even worse. One of Jen's most startling revelations was what the purported other woman allegedly stated. The woman claimed to be aware of Jen and that Brian frequently mentioned her, but she was unaware of Jen's large following, according to Jen. Despite its diminutive size, its sentence is harsh, since that implies Jen wasn't entirely concealed. She was well known. The discussion included her existence. There was her name. There was her marriage.